Today I'll be teaching you how to make a Wardian Case Terrarium. Our Wardian cases have doors which allows you to create your terrarium and also take care of your terrarium. And let's get started by adding our pebbles inside of it. And I'll be adding half of it. Half of the package that you received will be enough. So you can add the pebbles here inside. We just need a little bit height for excess water to collect. And we can save some of them to decorate it at the end. And you can decorate it with other things, which we'll talk about them too. So I added my pebbles layer here. You will see like almost 1 finger high. And we are ready to add our burlap. This material is called burlap, and it is a great material in our terrariums because they're pretty mold resistant and they help us to separate soil layer with the drainage layer, which is pebbles. Because if soil gets into pebbles, pebbles cannot do their drainage function. So I put my jar on top of my burlap, and I got help from a marker to draw the lines. So I go all around and then determine the border of my jar. If you're using another jar, you can still do the same thing, and you can get help from a marker to draw it. Okay, perfect. I have this shape right now, but as you can see, here is the smallest part of the jar. So I will cut a little bit bigger than what I drew to make it fit perfectly. And you can use your scissor. I would say 1/2 inch larger than you draw would help. So I will cut 1/2 inch larger than I draw. As I said, it depends on your jar as well. If you're using another Wardian case jar, you can change the ratio. And let's talk about why it is called the Wardian case. So Wardian case name coming from the inventor of terrarium, Dr. Ward. So Dr. Ward, when he invented terrarium, he created a very similar structure, geometrical structure, for his first terrariums. So he hired people to make this wooden and glass terrarium jars, big ones of course, to transport the plants. And they call this type of jars, geometric jars, Wardian case. You can search on Google, you will find so many beautiful Wardian case jars, vintage ones. Okay, so I cut it like this, and let me put them on the side. Okay, let's put it inside. As you can see, the first layer is pebbles, the second layer is burlap, and it looks perfect to me. Then I'll put it on the side, and I will get my mixing cup to make some terrarium mix. We have our soil. Our soil is moisture control substrate inside, which is perfect for our terrariums because all we want to do, like our focus is balancing the moisture inside. So we have to have a good balance with water first, because water cycle is one of the vital things in our terrarium. So water cycles, this is the semi-closed ones. Water evaporates constantly, so we have to add water constantly, but it's small amount and it's super easy to take care of it. So let's get started with our substrate, our soil. I'm gonna add a little more than half for my Wardian case to start. We can always add more. Let's see if this will be enough. So I added more than half, a little bit more than half, and I will add my peat moss. So peat moss is very important as well, super nutritious, and it can hold 20 times more water than its dry weight. So this helps us to keep the mix moist all the time. We don't want everything to go out, evaporate, or go into closed terrarium's case. If it goes all in the atmosphere of our terrarium, it's not a good thing, because the moisture should stay inside of the mix for the plants as well. And I'm gonna add half of it into my mix. Okay. And we have a sphagnum moss. It has a very similar functionality with peat moss. I'm gonna get one bunch and I will trim it into smaller pieces. It can be very small. It doesn't have to be super small, but you can cut it smaller pieces. The purpose is mixing it well inside of our terrarium mix. And it's a dead moss. It was living before. I mean, it was alive before, but now it's not alive. It helps to keep the moisture inside. Also, it creates some fluffy structure inside, so everything can circulate inside of our mix. One bunch is enough. It doesn't have to be all of it. Our kit has little more than what you need in case if you want to create a smaller jar terrarium at the same time with your original jar. If you have leftovers, you can create another small ones with what you have left. Also, if you want to make different type of structure, for example, if you want to make horizontal terrarium with this one, you can make it horizontally, then you will need a little bit more substrate probably. Okay, and let's think about photosynthesis. In closed ecosystems, as like Earth is a closed ecosystem, human, like people, give carbon dioxide out and then breathe oxygen. Then this has to be converted oxygen back again for us to breathe oxygen. So plants are helping us and we're helping the plants. We're giving them oxygen and we're giving carbon dioxide and they're giving back oxygen. So this is a cycle. So we have to set up this cycle inside of our terrarium too, which we will use activated carbon. So activated carbon generates carbon dioxide for our plants, and it also filters the water. And you can find activated carbon in coffee machines. The water goes through and then filters the water. Also, you can find it in aquarium filters. It works in the same way. So let's add our activated carbon into our mix. You can cut from the side like this. I cut it before. And we're gonna sprinkle 2 times on our mixture. 1 and 2. Okay. It doesn't have to be too much because we don't have many plants inside. Also, it's as I said, it's a semi-closed terrarium. And the very important part, after we made the mix, I will add some water. Normally we could add water inside of our terrarium after we add the mix, but it's hard to control the water level. That's why I like to add water prior adding the mixture, which we can have a full control. I will go and add some water. So your bottle's probably smaller than this. This is our first version of bottles. You will add like one full bottle of yours and then see if it's enough. Then if it's not enough, you will add a little more. The purpose is creating not mud, but close to mud, so it has to stick to your tool and then it shouldn't look dry. Let's see. I added a little water and then it looks still super dry, so I will add a little more, and then the color should go darker as we add water. Now it's way brown, we want a dark brown. Probably you will need to add 2 bottles of your spray. I would like to add a little bit more water. I would like to add a little bit more water because it wasn't enough. I'm adding carefully, not in big amounts. Add smaller amounts and constantly mix until you reach a brownie consistency, brownie mix consistency. I will add a little bit more. I'm very careful about water because water is the most important part of it. If we overwater it, we can create mold inside of our terrarium, which can kill the ecosystem. Okay, perfect. I think I reached the consistency. You can see the mixture got darker and it's way more stickier. Then I will add my mixture inside of my terrarium. I will use my tool to add it inside. Okay. I will fill it. I will not fill over the door opening. You can fill a little less or until the door opening. It is your choice. Let's add a little more. Also, if you have left after you add the mixture, you can put it back into Ziploc again. We don't push too much. You don't stack it too much. It can stay a little bit loose. I stack a little bit, but not too much. It doesn't have to be super tight. I think I will use most of it. Okay, as you can see, I added this much, but I don't think it's enough. I will add rest of it too. And you can do the same thing. Because we will add a plant, I want to make sure that plant has enough soil height. Okay. Then, if it's not enough, you can add soil right away inside without mixing it with anything else, because in our mixture we have everything. It'll help us. So if you want, you can get a little more, but make sure that you add a little bit water too if you want to add a little more mixture. So I'm gonna mix a little bit more to show you an example. I add a little bit more, and then I'm gonna add a little bit water quickly. Okay, then I will add it inside, but you can add it through the back of your terrarium jar. So you can create a mini hill looking landscape, which I will show you how I make it right now. It's very subtle, but you can make it inside of your terrarium jar. And then get your hands dirty. Make sure that your hands are dirty. Okay, so I can push the soil a little bit through the back like this. Then the front level is lower than back, so you can have a different type of look. Or you could create a steeper hill going up. It's your choice. You can play with the soil level, and you can create your own landscape. Okay, let's get started with our plant. And I'll be seeing you in a second. Okay, now I'll be teaching you how to sterilize your plant. I usually buy my plants from a nursery, and you don't know what is inside them. In my previous terrariums, I had so many fruit flies, mini flies that you find it on a fruit. And then the eggs can be inside of the soil, so we have to take care of it. If we don't want any flies, it can still be, but we can prevent as much as we can. I pull the plant carefully from the pot, and then I'm gonna squeeze the roots to separate the soil, because I want to wash it. I want to wash top to bottom. You can still wash it like this, and you can clear up the soil from the roots under the sink. But you can take the soil as much as you can first, then you can wash it for your sink safety. And I'm gonna just try to take off the soil from my plant. And if you see this fabric, you can remove that too, if it allows, if your roots allows. And then we're gonna go and wash under the sink from top to bottom. And if your plant is too big, you can also separate it by holding steady from the roots, and then you can separate it like this. But be careful, it can damage the plant easily. And there you go. I have 2 plants right now. And then we're gonna go wash top to bottom. Okay, I'll see you in a second. Okay, I washed the plant top to bottom, and now I will create a little hole inside of my terrarium where we want to play. Now I wash my plant from top to bottom to prevent. Now I wash the plant. It'll help us to. Okay. Now I wash the plant, and now we will add our plant inside of our terrarium. If it's too big, still, you can also divide it and then plant it in 2 different places. But I'll do one place for today, and I'll create a hole here for my plant. Then I will place it inside, and then I'll push it a little bit, and then add soil, push soil around it to secure it and then nicely stay in there. Okay, the plant is there. The next step is adding our moss. And then moss doesn't have roots. That's why you can cut it and you can place it inside onto the soil. I already cut it, so that's why I'm gonna add it here like this. Also another piece here. And I will add another small piece here. You can adjust it however you like. I will add one more piece here. You don't have to cover everywhere. Also, the soil itself looks good too. And then I have my pebbles here, leftovers from the drainage layer, and I will place them inside of my terrarium as decorations. And I want to create a pathway that goes inside of my mini jungle. You can also add any other personal items. It can be any figurines or seashell or any other crystals that you can decorate it with. Now we completed our terrarium. This is a Wardian Case Terrarium and we completed. Congrats. And how we take care of it? Actually, before taking care of it, let's add one more thing, which is very exciting. So this is fairy lights. You'll find it in your kit, and you will pull the white piece that separates the batteries. Then you will click the black button here to activate it. Mine is a little bit different, but it works in the same way. And if it doesn't work, if it doesn't turn on, you can open the battery pack and remove the batteries and close it back. Hopefully it'll work. If it doesn't work, reach out to us. I'll send you a new one. And then you can make shapes with this as it is metal, or you can put it randomly, which I will do today. So you can make any shape or you can add however you like. And I'm gonna add it like this. And you can keep the battery pack out, and you can tape it with double-sided tape on the back, or you can wrap it around a stretch film or plastic wrap and then put it inside. The only downside would be the batteries can die. It's about 48 hours straight. If you keep turned on, like if you keep on for 48 hours, it's gonna die. You can change the batteries or you can remove it. It's your choice. What I do is I turn on sometimes nighttime. That's it. And last step, let's add a little bit spray or moss. I added maybe 10 times now. Then we can close it. Now our terrarium is complete. And to take care of it, you need to place it somewhere takes indirect sunlight and also somewhere cool. And you can open it every 2 or 3 days. And then you can spray it multiple times for moss, because the water inside will evaporate as it's not airtight. So you have to take care of it every 2 or 3 days by spraying a few sprays. That's it. Let me know how your terrarium turned out, and if you have any questions, please reach out to us. And if you liked it and if you think you learned something new, please leave us a review. And if you have a feedback, please reach out to us. Thank you so much, and I hope I will see you in another class. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.